Okay, so let's run through some couple use cases for when you might want a deterministic workflow, how that might look. So let's say you're looking up government research grants and you're trying to find funds, that kind of thing. So one way you might work that out is if you had a deterministic toolkit to interface with some of the APIs where this information is held. So I created one and I shared it. It's public, and I'm going to show you how you can use it. You can head over to Toolkits, and you're just going to look for the federal funding research toolkit. You can inspect it here. We can audit it from here, but we're just going to go right to the public page where we can, again, always audit it whenever you want. This button is going to reveal the capabilities, make some network calls, has some credentials. You can drill down to all those capabilities. So it's going to post to these different sites. It's going to run a get here. It's going to optionally use this API key, which I happen to have. So you can check the provenance. I'm the owner. You can see if I copied this or forked it, if I transferred it, if I worked on it in a team, the whole explanation of where this came from. You can also look at the discussion and the ratings. So people could be rating it, talking about it, how many people favorited it, including yourself. Discussion will be here. So that's auditing. You can audit any property across the entire platform. So let's look at this exact toolkit. It's the Federal Funding Research Toolkit. Live research across federal funding sites. So it's going to check a bunch of different sites. So this toolkit has 4 tools. You can inspect them all, and you can in fact run them all. So let's look up the first one. It's the Search Federal Grants from grants.gov. It's going to search all agency federal grant opportunities from grants.gov. So here are the parameters that the API looks for. So we can go in and say we want 1 row, keywords, AI, safety. Come on down here, understand this is a post. It's going to do real stuff with your real creds possibly. It's a real tool. This is actually executing each tool. But actually, before I do that, you don't want to just run a tool. So the first thing you'd really do is look at the input schema and understand it. What does this do? It's going to take these parameters, look at the HTTP config. Where is this actually posting? So you're going to look at this, make sure it's something which makes sense. Then you'll go ahead and hit run this tool. When you run it, it's going to do exactly what it says it's going to do. It runs, it shows up with JSON output. You could look through this, but it's JSON. It's not human readable. But the point is, you can now make a tool that connects to this toolkit and reliably get this kind of output deterministically. You can connect to this anything, a workflow, an agent, a recipe that runs on the native app or CLI, a front-end app which runs on the web or native or CLI. And I'm going to show you that right now. So this is the deterministic output of that search. I searched AI safety endpoint across this one tool, the grants.gov tool. This toolkit has a bunch of tools, 4 tools. So let me show you how all this ties together. Actually, first, I'm going to go back and show you another tool within this toolkit section. Here's another one called STTR Research. Now, if we look at this tool and go to the page, we can audit it. We can see it's also by me, Elliot. You can look at the overview, but look at the capabilities, different URL. So interestingly, the STTR Research endpoints rate limit a little more heavily. So these 2 toolkits working together is a pretty solid result. So like I said, you could create your own app that connects to these toolkits, and it's just going to work. You can manage your credentials through FlowDot. It's all going to make everything a lot easier. If you're an app developer, isn't that great? If you're not an app developer, you can use FlowDot to connect your own app experience on top of any toolkit. And I'm going to show you what that means. So we're going to go over to the apps, and I'm going to head on down, and I'm going to find the Federal Funding Command Center, and I'm now going to explain this app. So like all apps, if you bring your mouse over into the top right corner, you're going to get the FlowDot helper, and that's going to show this drop down, which is going to allow you to, again, audit the app, where we can see here's everything this app can do. It makes network calls. It connects to your knowledge base. It has an LLM call. It uses credentials. Here are the capabilities. They're vast. Does all these network calls, connects to this knowledge base, connects to an LLM. It uses optional credentials. It links to these other properties. This agent toolkit, the one I just showed, the other one I just showed. So here we can see that this app connects to all this stuff. An app is just a friendly front end to some other stuff that might be under the hood, like a toolkit or a workflow or something like this. Like everything else, we can check the provenance. I created this app. We can check the discussion of this app, people talking about it, rating it, things like this. So you could look here to see if something that you didn't expect was happening. Hopefully the community discussion is where that would surface. Before I run the app, I want to show another quick feature is look at this capabilities here. I made up these capabilities. This is all fabricated earlier. The Meridian Coastal and Ocean Research Institute, this is all made up. Okay, so This app stores this document in your knowledge base. Your knowledge base is a secure location for storing all of your documents. Your documents are gated from each other, and you have to explicitly provide permission, which means that this app manages this document and is the only one allowed to look at these capabilities. So somebody else couldn't make another app which calls by the same document name to read that document and perform some insidious act. So I'm going to show you what that looks like over here. If we go over to this book, which is the knowledge base, we can see that there's documents. I have 66 documents, and you have to click here to reveal them. But first I want to see the app created documents. And here I have 66. If I hit reveal documents, it's going to show all these different documents that apps have automatically created for me. Here's the Federal Funding Command Center, the app we were just looking at. I can look at this app, or at this document, and I can tell right here that the Federal Funding Command Center is the only one allowed to access this particular document. I can open up this access modal, or this access page. And that's going to allow me to grant property access across other things. So if somebody else makes a better federal research apparatus that rides those toolkits, that it's all good, you can hook that up, but it's not going to be automatic. The user is going to have to grant access. You have to grant access. So nothing in your knowledge base is automatically granted. No app or agent or experience can automatically reach across. You have to grant it. Okay, so here are all of my app created documents, the capabilities from the Federal Funding Command Center. So I can see it here, I can edit it, and I can get an AI to edit it, or I can edit it myself right here. So now that that's explained, that is how this app, let me swing back to the Federal Funding Command Center, this app accesses the capabilities you would give it. Now, think about a Federal Funding Command Center. You would want it to know what sort of stuff you're good at, things you've done, accomplished in the past. Also, it needs to be connected to a bunch of APIs, which are going to provide results. Nowhere yet are we talking about where there needs to be generative AI. So far, there doesn't need to be. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so let's search now for oceanography, chemical detection. I'm going to go ahead and enable all of these because in this account I have connected these toolkits. I have connected a SAM key, and I'm going to hit search. And what it's going to do deterministically is just going to hit all those APIs with this search query, no generative tech at all used. It's just a straight up search rating based off of ratings. We can see here 2 term matches, 1 term match. Okay, so this is from grants.gov. Let's take a look at it. Here we have grants.gov, U.S. National Science Foundation, posted March 12th, 2015. Closes August 16th, 2026, 48 days left. Let's look at it over here. So here's the actual view grant opportunity where we can dig into what this is. Okay, so the ceiling's 2 million, the floor is 200,000. So let's imagine, like I have done, that we are the sort of people, according to our capabilities here, that are into ocean research, that have credentials, that have personnel. I've made all this personnel up to show you this, how this workflow works. So let's assume that we are this company with these things, we've done these things. So now the search didn't take any of that into consideration just now. It didn't consider any of that stuff. It just used my search string. But now we're going to hit this button here, rate versus capabilities. And that's going to actually invoke the AI, generative tech, to rate all of these and assign a number based off of that capabilities. What does it think we're actually good at? What does it think we could actually achieve? And like all FlowDot experiences, like I've already pointed out, when you bring your mouse over here, you get this little hover tooltip. And if you click LLM, you get to decide which AI model is going to be run for any of these tasks. I'm going to go ahead and I can assign a complex model, capable model, simple model. And I can see the simple is going to run off of my local computer via Olama, cost me virtually nothing. Capable will use my FlowDot credits on Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite, will cost me almost nothing. Complex will use often Claude, but in this case DeepSeek v3 will cost me a little bit more, not too much. Or I could use OpenAI if you happen to have OpenAI, and you can also go ahead and choose the model here. So you get complete control of what model you use, when, total transparency into the costs, and all that stuff. So we'll go ahead and use OpenAI because it is effectively free because I have an account connected, and then we're going to hit rate. Okay, so OpenAI took the output of these tools in which we had all these different results. It combined that with my capabilities document over here, and it rated each of these. So it put the chemical oceanography one on top, which makes sense. gave it a 98. Everybody else has a 64, and we can see we can run on down the list. So this is going to be specific to what you're doing, your capabilities. This is generative, so take it as you will. So let's look at this one. And again, full disclosure, I modeled this capabilities document off of this grant opportunity as a test. And it passed that test 98, which is what I want. So let's open up this, and now we're going to go ahead and we've already opened up the source. We've looked at it over here. If you're actually applying for grants, you're going to look through this. You're going to spend a lot of time really digesting all this information. But for a jump start, you can go ahead and check link and assesses fit. Okay. So now this is going to take a second pass with the prescribed LLM. It's going to look up the opportunity. It's going to run a web search. It's going to fetch the page. It's going to summarize it against the search string and against our capabilities. And it's going to attempt to generate a hard line number. What is the realistic chance you have for this? Should you even spend much time on it, or is there some reason why you're going to have a low passing score? Again, I modeled this whole experiment off of this particular opportunity, so it should rate us reasonably well. Okay, so here it's done. We can see it's an excellent fit for, so this is the company name, the made-up company name. It's an excellent fit for this particular oceanography because its mission is personnel, facilities, past experience, direct. Okay, so it says, hey, what a great fit, of course, because I, curated the document to this particular lead. Here we have some gaps, etc. So everything here is generative AI. This entire report is based off of capabilities, doing some web fetches, and it's coming back with probably solid advice, but it is generative. This is, whatever AI you hooked up here. If you hook up a very cheap local Ollama model, you're probably going to get a very low quality response. So you're going to want, for complex tasks, you're going to want a complex model, and you're going to want, of course, double check. But you'll notice that invoking the generative check was the very last step. It was not the very first step. It was the very last step. So that's my view on how all this stuff works. Before we move on, I just want to point out a couple more things. If we open up the FlowDot helper modal, or the FlowDot helper hover tool, we can look down and we can see that we can audit this app. I can hit edit or save because I'm the owner of this app, but if you're a viewer, you won't see these two buttons. You can run to the author of this app and view. You can also see all the connected toolkits. So these toolkits I already showed you are connected. This has the ability to do web search. We know that because it needed to fetch the URL in order to summarize it. This has the ability to connect an LLM. We know that. It just did it twice for us. It's also connected to secure gated knowledge. So that means the capabilities. So somebody else couldn't make another app and very easily trick you into reading your capabilities. Everything's gated, and you need to explicitly approve everything. Okay, so I showed you how you can generate a toolkit. That toolkit can interact with the outside world. It can do search. It can do all sorts of things. You can then create a friendly front-end app on top of it. But you also can connect to your toolkits in a variety of other ways. For example, the agent chat. I'm going to come to this agent chat, and I'll go ahead and we'll go with Ollama. Very cheap Gemma 4 running on my local computer, costing me nothing. Okay, so now we're on the agent chat, and the agent chat has access to everything which you grant via the permission gating. And so I can then say, run the Federal Research Grant Toolkit Grant Search Tool with the phrase oceanography chemical detection. Now, like I just demonstrated, that app we created is gated to that document. So your agent doesn't have automatic access to that document, doesn't even know the document exists. So that app is running on top of the toolkit. This agent is about to run on top of the toolkit independently. So it's sort of an aspect of the harness that I don't think people think about enough. What I can show here is that there's full transparency in our model tiering. So we're on simple right now, which is local, Ollama, Gemma. I can bump it up to capable, which is going to be FlowDot, Red Pill, Google, Gemini 2.5 Flashlight. I can bump it up to complex, which I have mapped to DeepSeek V3 right now as an experiment. Or we can jump into OAuth, if you have any OAuth providers. In this case, we have OpenAI connected. OAuth is going to come back with the automatic model detection. So here are the currently available models. You can hit this gear, you can jump into your models tab, and that is going to allow you to set up your preference. I want this one to be simple, I want this one to be capable, I want this one to be complex. You can use any provider. If you go to the your keys section. You're going to see all these over 30 LLM providers. You can use any of them. You don't need to use FlowDot. You can use whatever you want. It's all going to, if you have Anthropic, hook up that key. You can see here I've got Google hooked up with its own key. I've got OpenAI. I've got OpenRouter. So all sorts of providers. You can hook up whichever one you want. You can model map to whichever one you want. So if you're talking to an agent and something's not working, it's not the end of your day. You're not done waiting. You can just switch to a different provider, carry on. Everything contextually will carry on. And I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm actually going to start with the cheapest, simplest one, which is effectively free, Ollama, Gemma 4, running through the web agent, redirecting to my local Ollama securely. I'm going to hit send. It's going to see my request. It's going to load up my tools. It's going to just start running. It's going to offer up a permission gate every time it tries to invoke a tool that I haven't yet granted it permission to do. Okay, so it says I'm running the federal grant search tool for oceanography chemical detection to find relevant funding and opportunities, and that's great. Everything is gated through a permission system. So every time any of the agents try to invoke a tool, the first thing you get is this questionnaire. You can view all the inputs. You can see whole transparency into what it's doing. You can allow it right now. You can allow it for the rest of the session. You can always allow it. You can deny it. I'm going to say always allow. Now that's going to show up right here. And we can click it and we can see here's the stuff I've always allowed. You can always run grant search with the Federal Funding Research Toolkit. I can revoke this at any time. We can also see after I gave it permission, it ran it, and we can just go ahead and see the output. And look, it's that same JSON that we saw before, only now the agent's just doing it automatically for us. So we don't have to deal with this JSON we don't understand. We can see now Gemma 4 successfully located a bunch of grants. It's the very same grant our app just showed. Here it is. Here's the opportunity ID. Here's the number offered by the offered by the U.S. National Science Foundation. So highly direct match for my query. So that's another example of, you make a good toolkit once, which is fully deterministic and thorough and concise, and then you can strap on that anything, an app, a workflow, a recipe, or just agentic conversation where the model you trust gets to run these things through. Also, within FlowDot, as you're using things, there's always a little $sign down here that shows you the cost. How much did this cost? It's usually like 1/10 of a penny, depends on the model you have connected. But when you're using Ollama, that's not here. The cost which you normally would see here, that's not here. I'm running local Ollama, so it cost me zero. It didn't cost anything. So that's the benefit of agentic conversation. So you can have agents talk to or invoke or create or edit any property in the platform. So if you have an idea for a toolkit, you don't have to go into the toolkits, and you don't have to go to new toolkit, and you don't have to design each tool like I'm doing here one at a time. And you don't have to come in here and type out all the headers and the schema and all of this. You can if you want. I like that stuff. Some people like it. I think it's really cool. You don't have to. You can just have the AI do it if you want. And you can just have the AI do these things for you over MCP. So one last note on documents in your knowledge base. Let's look at this capabilities document where, I put a bunch of information here and I can edit it through the editor, through Markdown. I could open up this AI editor and it's going to slide out and I can edit it there. But I can also do everything through FlowDot through MCP. So if you have Codex or Claude Code or whatever you use, you can do that. And I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. Okay, so here we are in Claude Code. And I'm going to say run the FlowDot MCP and find capabilities document that the federal grants search app uses. Or any MCP compatible harness you use is going to be able to do just that. So it's again asking permission to list the apps. I'll say go for it. It's going to search my apps. I'll say yeah, search them up. Looks like it found it. Now I'm going to have it list the app files. Now it's going to get it. It's important to remember that there are hundreds of tools and tool calls within the FlowDot apparatus which let you do so many things, and in order to keep context low, everything's shipped in these bundled learn resources. So the first thing you're going to see an agent through the web do or an agent over MCP do is typically run learning resources. So I'm going to show you exactly what that means, but just now I asked Claude to find it, it found it, it's explaining it. So here's how it's used, it's giving me all the updates. So I can ask Claude to make updates about it. I can ask Claude to fork it. I can do anything except for the social features. Those are all manually, must be done by a person through some interface. And that's just to keep the noise down so that you have a clear view in what are people actually discussing on these different properties, where are the ratings actually landing. But what these agents can do is make updates and changes. So you can find a recipe you like. You can find that app which is public. And let's say for some reason you don't want to use it, you don't trust it, you can fork it, you can make it your own, you can use it privately, you can use it with a llama privately. So you can really dial it all back, and you can also use agents you're used to like Claude or Codex or anything else to do that for you. So the whole thing really is yours to basically operate however you want. Okay, so that's an example of how to create some lean deterministic toolkit tools, connect all sorts of different stuff like agents or apps or Claude code to those. All right, I hope this was helpful. If you like this kind of stuff, follow along.